Here's what we know right now. Police are asking for the public's help in finding 29-year-old Travis Ranking. Authorities say the gunman arrived in a truck and came out wielding an assault-type rifle. Police say a man believed to be Travis Ranking was last seen wearing black pants and no shirt. CNN's Diane Gallagher is on the scene. So, Diane, what are you learning?
So at this point, Fred, that man is still on the loose. They have been able to go and they've served murder warrants at his apartment trying to find him, but still searching for Travis Ranking at this point. Behind me, you can probably see it's a very active scene right now still. We've got dozens and dozens of officers, emergency vehicles, still sort of investigating, looking through the scene here, trying to figure out exactly not just what happened, but why this happened. About 3:25 in the morning, police say that Travis Ranking came into the Waffle House parking lot. He was in his pickup truck. He was nude with the exception of wearing a green jacket and had an AR-15 style weapon with him. He got out of his pickup truck and began firing in the parking lot, killing two people in the parking lot. He then went inside the Waffle House there behind me, began shooting in the restaurant. At that time, another man, 29-year-old James Shaw Jr. He was there at the restaurant eating. He went into the bathroom. And again, still a very active situation. I apologize for that, Fred. But James Shaw Jr. went into the bathroom. He was trying to escape the shooting, and he noticed, according to police and James Shaw's family, that Travis Ranking had just sort of stopped shooting. He was fiddling with his weapon. At that point, that's when James Shaw Jr. sprung into action. He tackled the shooter. He got the gun away from him, and then he took the gun and threw it across the counter. This unarmed man, James Shaw Jr., disarming the shooter. That's when the shooter kind of took his jacket off and ran out of the Waffle House into the woods. Now, again, they have not been able to locate him at this point. He was spotted, they say, wearing black pants. He must have gone home and put those pants on, they believe. They do not have a motive right now. But as you said, we have 4 people who were shot and killed. There were 2 others who were shot and 2 others who were injured. One last thing, Fred. I spoke to James Shaw Jr.'s aunt not too long ago. She said that when he was discharged from the hospital with those minor injuries that he had, shot grazed through the elbow, some abrasions there, he went home, he changed clothes, and then she said he went to church with his mama. He wasn't going to let this make him miss church this morning.
Wow, and all of that following those heroic acts that you described. Diane Gallagher, thank you so much for that. We'll check back with you for the latest updates. Meantime, Nashville's Democratic Congressman Jim Cooper took this opportunity to bring up gun control, tweeting, "Nashville woke up to devastating news. We mourn the innocent victims and thank our brave first responders. Many will say now is not the time to discuss change, but now is the time. We can and must do everything possible to prevent these tragedies and keep Americans safe." That starts with restricting widespread civilian access to military-grade assault weapons. That coming from the congressman. Authorities provided an update on the situation a short time ago, saying the carnage only stopped because of the heroics of that customer.
Our hero in this matter is a 29-year-old man, a patron. You had a citizen step up to intervene with an active shooter, and that's what this man did. He is the hero here. And no doubt he saved many lives by wrestling the gun away and then tossing it over the counter and prompting the man to leave.
All right. So again, all of that is underway with the investigation, and the heroics of that young man, James Shaw Jr., is being underscored. You saw the image of him earlier with the injury on his elbow. He was seen by eyewitnesses to tackle the gunman. I want to discuss all of this now with Chuck Cordero, who was there as a witness of this shooting as well. Chuck, first of all, how are you doing after all of this?
I'm just exhausted, tired, just frazzled.
So, Chuck, if you don't mind, just kind of take me back to in the early hours overnight and what happened from the start at your visit there at the Waffle House.
I pulled in to the Waffle House to visit my buddies that worked there. I sat in my car for a minute because they were very busy. I guess me and the gunman pulled in at the same time. The cook, my buddy T, was outside smoking a cigarette and he waved at me. I figured I would go talk to him while I waited. As I got out of my car, the gunman got out of his truck, shot one of the customers that was entering the restaurant, and then shot my friend as he was trying to get away. At that time, I dropped to the ground and was able to keep an eye on the shooter from underneath my car. I was just fearful that he was going to come around my car and try and get to me, but as I watched him, he fired a few shots through the window, and then he stepped inside the restaurant and started opening fire inside the restaurant.
Oh my goodness! And so when you saw that he aimed and shot at your friend and then made his way inside the restaurant, what was the elapse of time here? How quickly did all of this happen? And describe for us who is now the suspect is being described as Travis Reinking, but describe for me the demeanor, what he appeared like to you when all of this was unfolding.
It was just really, really bizarre. He had tall, thin, kind of disheveled, brownish blonde hair and naked. It was just really, really bizarre. No real demeanor. He got out of his vehicle and just started shooting. He didn't say nothing to nobody. He didn't have anything to say. He just came to shoot people, I guess.
And then after shooting your friend, and then you hit the pavement, right? And then this gunman then went inside the Waffle House. What did you hear when you weren't able to necessarily see what was happening?
Well, when he was outside, his shots were very deliberate, like one at a time. When he stepped into the restaurant, he pretty much just opened fire. I heard a lot of shooting, but at that time, I was trying to distance myself from that restaurant. I was crawling on my hands and knees across the parking lot trying to get to safety.
And then what about your friend? How far away were you from your friend who was, down with a gunshot wound?
Maybe 20 yards, maybe less.
And I know how difficult that was because you're trying to see how your friend is doing at the same time. You're trying to take cover. Describe for me what that moment was like for you.
Well, I did not get a chance to get to my friend until everything was over and done with. Self-preservation, I pretty much stayed put until it got quiet. And at that time when I peeked up, James Shaw Jr. was wrestling with the gunman inside the restaurant. I saw the rifle go flying, and then I just ducked back down again, and at that time is when the gunman took off running.
And you mentioned the rifle, went flying there in the restaurant. You were able to see that, and now perhaps putting, some of the pieces together, and we're looking at an image of a young man by the name of James Shaw Jr., who witnesses say actually tackled that gunman and was able to, stop what was happening. He's being described as a hero, and he's got this, wound on his elbow. Now that you're hearing some of the story behind why you saw that gun flying, what are your thoughts?
He's a hero. I mean, 4 people died, and it could have been 4 times that many had he not done what he did. The gunman had more ammunition on him. He was definitely not interested in stopping. If James Shaw Jr. didn't step up and do what he did, this would have been a lot worse than it was. He is definitely a hero, definitely.
James Shaw being described a hero. Chuck Cordero, thank you so much for your eyewitness accounts. And I know this is, you were quite shaken up for some time.